Hey there! Welcome back to Easy Peasy English with Christine. I'm so glad you're here again. If you want to understand the real English people use every day, including phrases, vocabulary, and expressions that help you communicate clearly and confidently, you're in the right place. In our first video, we covered a bunch of useful phrases, but I realized 50 phrases in one video was a lot. So I've split the rest into 3 shorter videos. This way, it's easier to focus on each phrase and remember it. In this video, we'll go through 17 phrases, so get ready to learn some more expressions you can use in daily conversations. Our first phrase is, "That's insane." People say this when something feels unbelievable, shocking, or just really wild. It's usually a reaction to something surprising. Example, he got the new phone on the same day it came out. That's insane. So you say this when something is so surprising that you almost can't believe it. It shows a strong reaction, but in a friendly and casual way. Next, "Now we're getting somewhere." Use this when things are finally improving or making progress. We solved the first piece of the puzzle. Now we're getting somewhere. So it just means you and a friend have been trying to figure something out, like a mystery, a game, or a problem, and after a long time of not knowing what to do, you finally discover one helpful clue. It's not the full solution yet, but it shows you're finally making progress. Number 3 phrase is, "Here's the thing." So let's say your friend asks to borrow your car this weekend. You'd like to help, but you actually need it to go to an appointment. Say you have an important client meeting and your friend says, "Come on, it's just a few hours." And you're trying to explain why it won't work. So you would say, "Here's the thing. I need a car on Saturday for an important appointment, so I can't lend it." You're letting them know why something isn't possible, which gives a clear reason without sounding harsh. Good call. You can say this to praise someone's decision or choice. Like you're out running errands with your friend, you weren't sure if you should bring cash or just use your card. Your friend says, "Bring some cash just in case." And later, you try to pay at a small coffee shop and their card machine is broken. You could say, "Good call bringing cash. You saved us." Our next one is, "If you say so." This is used when you don't fully agree with someone but want to accept their opinion. For example, if somebody tells me, "I think pineapple belongs on pizza," and because I don't like pineapple on pizza, I would say, "If you say so," to politely acknowledge that their opinions, even though I don't fully agree. Our next phrase is, "Hold that thought." This is similar to "hang on a sec." You can use it to pause a conversation while keeping the idea in mind. Example, "I want to tell you about my weekend plans." Hold that thought. I need to take this important phone call first. So you say "hold that thought" when you want someone to stop briefly but remember what they were saying so you can come back to it. Moving to our next expression, "for what it's worth." You can say this to give your opinion, but you're not sure if it really matters. For instance, "For what it's worth, I think your haircut looks great." This phrase is a humble way to share your thoughts or advice while letting the other person know it's just your perspective. It's suitable for situations where your opinion might be optional or extra, but you still want to contribute. And what if you want to be honest about a situation in a casual way? Say, "Let's be real." Let's be real. We both know we didn't practice enough for the game. You use this when you want to speak frankly about something people might be avoiding. It's a friendly way to introduce a truth or reality check without being harsh. How about saying you hear the same comment all the time? You can say the phrase, "I get that a lot." So when somebody tells you, "You look like your sister," you would say, "I get that a lot." This is a way of acknowledging that a certain comment or observation or question happens frequently, and you're letting the person know it's not surprising to you because it happens all the time. Next, we have you don't say. Use this to express surprise, mild sarcasm, or interest depending on your tone. For example, your friend tells you extremely surprising or unbelievable news like, I won the lottery today. So you would be like, you don't say. I'm the best looking guy in my class. You don't say. In this situation, your friend is bragging a little about being the best looking in class. By saying you don't say, you're showing mild surprise or playful skepticism. It's like saying, really? Are you sure? Without being rude. The tone, especially with the little smirk emoji there, makes it clear you're teasing rather than genuinely doubting. So depending on your tone, this phrase can show real amazement, polite interest, or gentle disbelief. It's a flexible phrase to react to someone else's information without overreacting. What about when you want to let someone go ahead of you? Say, after you. So imagine yourself holding a door and there's someone behind you. You can say, after you. You use this to show politeness or courtesy. It's a simple way to make everyday interactions smoother, like letting someone enter a room before you. Moving on to our next expression, suck it up. To suck it up means to deal with a difficult or unpleasant situation without complaining. It comes from the idea of sucking in your stomach or chest to stand tall and look strong even when you are tired or hurting. When you say this, you are essentially saying life is hard right now, but you just have to keep going and stop talking about how much it sucks. Like if a friend is complaining about a minor problem for the 10th time, you might say, look, it's annoying, but you just have to suck it up and get it done. But you have to be really careful with this phrase because it can sound a bit mean if you aren't careful. Like if a friend is going through something actually sad or heavy, definitely don't use it then. It makes it seem like you're just brushing off their feelings or you don't want to come across as cold or uncaring. I'd say only save it for the little annoying things, like if you're joking around with a friend who's complaining about a tiny walk or if you're just trying to motivate yourself to get through a workout. It's definitely more of a tough love vibe for the small stuff. Next up, how about when you want to find the good thing in a bad situation? For that, we use the phrase on the bright side. For example, let's say we totally missed the bus, but on the bright side, it gave us extra coffee time. What this phrase does is help you quickly point out a small positive even when things aren't going perfectly. It's a super easy way to keep any conversation optimistic and light. On to our next phrase, don't quote me on that. You use this phrase immediately after you have shared some information that you are not absolutely sure is true. It means I think this is correct, but I haven't double checked it. So don't treat it as a confirmed fact. Here's a common scenario. Your coworker asks you when the big project deadline is. You might reply, the meeting is scheduled for Friday at 11 a.m., but don't quote me on that. I think they changed the time this morning. So it's a quick way to protect yourself in case your information turns out to be wrong. Number 15, it is what it is. This phrase is probably one of the most common ways to just shrug your shoulders and accept something you can't change. It basically means this is the reality right now and I can't do anything about it, so I'm not going to stress. It's a way to let go of disappointment or frustration. So imagine you had big plans for an outdoor picnic, but then it starts raining and everything is canceled. Since you can stop the rain, you accept it. I was so excited for that picnic, but the rain ruined everything. It is what it is, I guess. On to our next phrase, give me a break. Now this one is interesting because what it actually means totally depends on how you say it, specifically the tone you use. You can use it to show lots of different feelings. If you say it with a frustrated tone, it means, stop bothering me. If you say it with a surprised tone, it means, no way, I don't believe you. Or if you say it jokingly, it can just be a light-hearted surprise. So the same words can show frustration, disbelief, or even surprise, all depending on your voice. Here's an example of frustration. You told me the flight was delayed again? Give me a break. If you want to warn someone to stop arguing or complaining before they even get going, you use the short phrase, don't start. For example, you could say, I know you're about to mention the dirty dishes, but don't start. I've already cleaned the kitchen twice today. The explanation is simple. You're cutting off the complaint right there because you feel like you've already done enough or you just don't want to hear it. It's basically a quick way to say, that's enough of that. Let's stop talking about it right now. That's all for today's phrases. I hope you enjoyed learning them and feel ready to try them out in your conversations. Today, we covered 17 phrases, and in the next lesson, I'll share 17 more. Until then, keep practicing the phrases we've learned so far. Thank you so much for joining me today. Don't forget, if you want to keep making English easy peasy and build your authentic communication skills and confidence, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye for now.